This month on Patreon, no more Hub in Canada, a new OF Mom of the Year contender, and Scotland's Wonky Wonka. Plus a massive back catalog when you support The Habit at patreon.com/doseofbuckley. So many people who are nostalgic for the past are the types of people who would have had things way worse back in the day. Like, it'll always be some little nerd saying, I wish we could go back to the way things were in the 1950s and 60s. Buddy, let me tell you, if you went to high school in the 1960s, you would still have been a nerd. And there was no zero tolerance policies back then. Some jock would have broken your arm for looking at his best gal without even thinking twice about it. And when you got home, your dad would have been sitting in his chair, smoking his pipe, looking at you like you failed his entire bloodline. On the plus side, the chance of getting shot was a lot lower, until you were shipped off to Nam, then it was exponentially higher. But anyway, you know who else didn't have it so great back in the day? Women. Or at least, that's what modern women want you to think. In the 1970s, the Hairy Armpit Brigade tricked you into thinking that what you wanted was to be an independent woman with her own job, making her own choices, being more than just a housewife, more than just a live-in maid, nanny, and fuck toy for the owner of the manor. But the Tradwives are here to tell you that you done fucked up, ladies. Trad, of course, is the short form for traditional. The idea of the quote-unquote Tradwife movement is to bring things back to a simpler time, to restore gender norms, where the man is the breadwinner and key decision maker, and the woman says, yes, dear, to everything her husband says, and makes sure the house and the kids are clean and dinner's on the table. It's often linked to right-wingers and Christian or Western religious women, but I'm not going to focus too heavily on that here. I don't think this is dumb because right-wingers or Christians are doing it. Hell, I don't even think the idea of it is dumb. I think there's an irony in being mad at women for choosing, or wanting, to live this way. Feminism was all about giving women the right to choose, and then when they choose the wrong thing, they scream, no, you have to live the way we say. Go to work and be miserable with the rest of us. No, what's dumb is turning it into a fucking spectator sport. I'll start with the most recent one you may have seen. A woman by the name of Nara or Nara Smith, who tells us her kids woke up this morning and wanted cereal. So, we watch her bake exactly 2 servings of cereal from scratch using various ingredients, making a sort of knockoff Cookie Crisp and Cocoa Puffs, which she narrates in a voice that sounds like someone gave an AI some opiates to make it through the day.
I made 2 types of cereal. The first one was chocolate chip cookie cereal. So I mixed some flour, peanut butter, maple syrup, milk, and chocolate, and formed that into a dough.
This shit is far beyond Tradwife. Even 50s moms just poured their kid a bowl of cereal from a box. Maybe made eggs and toast. They weren't spending an hour making it from scratch. And that's not the most absurd one. There's also one where she claims her kids wanted a grilled cheese. So, she makes the bread, the cheese, and the butter from scratch. The video starts with her saying, I asked my toddlers what they wanted for lunch and they said grilled cheese. And then she says it takes 2 hours just for the bread to rise. She means proof, but we didn't all spend the pandemic watching the Great British Bake Off, so I'll forgive her. But when did you ask them what they wanted for lunch? At 4 a.m.? Kid, wake up. What do you want for lunch? I have to do my hair and makeup and get fully dressed and go set up the cameras and then spend the next 6 hours making it. What's interesting, and by that I mean what gives away the entire grift, is that there doesn't seem to be any videos of her doing any other types of housework. She's not cleaning the kids' clothes, you know, the one she probably made from scratch by first shearing the sheep in the backyard, and then treating the wool, weaving it, and whatever, I'm already bored of this joke. We don't see her cleaning the house, going to the store, dropping the kids off, or picking them up from school, because this is all performative. Both her and her husband are models. They both have money. If I had to guess, this TikTok channel coupled with her Instagram also makes a bunch of money. I would bet that they have other people handle that shit. She and her husband are apparently Mormon, which means this guy's an idiot if he is paying a house cleaner. He could just marry another wife who does that. Put her in a low-cut top and have her start a TikTok as well. Triple that income. There was another one of these women who was a lot more famous last year, named Estee Williams. You might know her better as that blonde with the rack. Her Instagram and TikTok videos feature her ample assets stuffed into a tight shirt or often peering out from above something slightly low cut. Nothing that would be scandalous, of course, but certainly low enough that the Lord's getting a real good look down her blouse. While we actually see Nara cook, we barely see Estee do dick all. Her Instagram is mostly just photos of her from the ribs up, wearing these flower print dresses that look like your grandma's curtains. Lots of pictures of her holding food, or videos explaining how to be a good housewife, but very little in the way of demonstrations. She does, however, have a video called Tips to Attract Masculine Provider Men. She's not greedy, she wants to help others fulfill their dream of spending all day at home playing dress up. It should be noted that Estee does not have kids, but she only got married like last year. And maybe hubby's too busy working 12-hour days to afford to have a stay-at-home wife. End of the day, he's too tired to come home to do a little gardening, if you know what I mean. Planting those seeds. But ultimately, all this shit, Nara, Estee, all these Tradwife accounts, they're fantasy. For both men and women. For men, this is a luxury you can't afford in 2024. Like owning a Lamborghini or a summer home. Sure, we'd all love a subservient, big-titted breakfast maker who will clean the bathroom after you shit out last night's meatloaf and have dinner ready for you when you get home. Who will basically be what your mom was to you when you were a kid. Nothing weird about that. Bunch of Oedipus complex having freaks. But you can't afford that. Not in this economy. The only reason these men can is because these women are also making money by being famous on TikTok. The irony of which is too funny. Not only might that be emasculating to a real masculine provider man, their stay-at-home wife making more than they do, but they're also sharing these women with the rest of the world. There's nothing trad about June Cleaver heading over to Eddie Haskell's house to buff his dad's floors while the rest of the neighbors watched. These Tradwives' husbands are all digital cucks. Because you know a bunch of repressed dudes are beaten off to this. It's porn for people who think porn should be outlawed. But they certainly don't mind watching some good Christian woman spray cake batter all over her tits, like that one chick from last year who's still pretending, "Oh, I was just showing people how to make a cake. I don't know why everyone's making a big deal about it." Instructions are on the back of the box, Betty Crocker shit. They don't need you. But traditional women, your great-grandma, your grandma, maybe even your mother, depending on how old you are, didn't cook and clean for likes and clicks. They barely even got a, "Thanks, honey." And they certainly didn't do those things with their tits hanging out for the entertainment of the neighbors. And for women, these videos are a fantasy as well. Because surprise, this working shit sucks. Even just going to work sucks. The pandemic accidentally showed women what those pesky feminists took from them 50 years ago. You mean I can get up pretty much whenever I want? Get my work done in my pajamas? Not have to talk to people I hate? Not have someone look over my shoulder all day telling me how to do my job? And I can toss the TV or maybe my favorite music on in the background while I do it? Is this what my grandma's days were like? This is the fucking life! And even better, imagine working for a company where, if your boss fires you, you get half the company. So yeah, I can see the appeal of being a Tradwife. And sorry guys, but I don't think there's any money in being a TikTok trad husband. I guess there's just no market for a dude doing a poor job of fixing the sink with his dick out. And I thought you wanted equality. Huh, feminists?